the woman who had sex with a dolphin for science. Margaret Lovatt hoped to teach dolphins to speak English, but in her effort, she went way too far. Here's how science led to sex, drugs, and drama. As a child, Margaret loved stories about talking animals. In 1964, when she was 21, she got a chance to make it come true. Lovatt lived on the Caribbean island of St. Thomas. One day she learned about a secret laboratory on the island. There, scientists were working with dolphins. Margaret had no special training, however, decided to pay the lab a visit and offered her help. She was asked to watch the animals and write down what she saw. Lovatt turned out to be an intuitive observer of animal behavior. The lab director was impressed and let her come whenever she wanted. At the lab, she met John C. Lilly, a neuroscientist. Lilly hoped to communicate with the creatures. He noticed the dolphins sometimes imitated the sounds humans made. He believed they could be taught to speak English. There were 3 dolphins at the lab: Peter, Pamela, and Sissy. Lovatt began spending a lot of time with the animals. Soon she decided it wasn't enough. Lovatt wished to live with a dolphin around the clock. She completely waterproofed the upper floors of the lab. Then she flooded the indoor rooms with a couple of feet of water. This allowed a dolphin to live in the building with her for 6 months. Lovatt spent 6 days a week with a young dolphin named Peter. Margaret and Peter had lessons twice a day. She tried to make him greet her with the phrase "Hello, Margaret." Peter grew very attached to his teacher. He seemed very interested in her anatomy. He spent a lot of time looking at her bare legs. He also liked to rub himself on Margaret's hands and feet. At first, Lovatt sent Peter to the female dolphins, but it proved disruptive to the lessons. Instead, Lovatt decided it was easier to relieve his urges manually. But then Hustler published an expose on Lovatt and Peter. This was already bad for the research program, but something else was also interfering with the study. Lilly had also been researching mind-altering drugs. He began using LSD on his dolphins. It didn't seem to have any effect on them. Meanwhile, Margaret grew very close to Peter. She liked to be with him and missed him when he wasn't around. By 1966, Lilly's interest in the experiment was dwindling. He lost the support of the lab director and the funding. The dolphins had to be moved to a much smaller tank. Peter got depressed and committed suicide. Lovatt stayed on the island and married a man who photographed the research. They moved back into the lab and converted it into a family home.
There was good feeling in that building all the time,
she said. She never managed to teach Peter to speak.